Evidently, there are people who feel this way because now we have this story which you brought to my attention.
Oh, yes. Yes. Furious woman, 34 years of age, demands ex-boyfriend pay compensation for stealing her childbearing years. He owes me big time. Now, this has actually gone kind of nuts a little bit. I think it's just one of those clickbait stories that the whoever runs the social media of these companies has realized is oh, hang on, sorry, that's the wrong one. Is a good story to make money on. I was just trying to bring up my own version of it, and I brought up the wrong thing. Let me try that again. Image file here. So Sky News, but of course, they're all over it. They love it. Furious woman, 34, demands ex-boyfriend pay compensation for taking her childbearing years. He owes me big time. Literally just a republishing of the exact same story, it would appear.
The Murdoch media is like...
Oh, yeah. No, they're cashing in on the clicks. Now, what was interesting about this was I sent that through to you and I said, this is actually interesting, like, because it does raise a few interesting ethical questions for me. And understand, viewers, this is very rare for like a culture, male-female relationship-y kind of a topic. Normally, I'm the one rolling my eyes. Carly kind of rolled her eyes at me a little bit. She was just kind of like,
bad.
Just another reason for people to rag on women. No, Carly, you're the reason people rag on women. That's entirely on your broad shoulders. But no,
okay. You're not wrong.
I actually think that this it's an interesting ethical question.
Present your argument.
Well, no, so here's the thing. Rewind to the bad old days before feminism made the world the perfect utopia that it is today. And there was an unspoken social contract that was practically universal. You could assume this to be the agreement unless said otherwise, which was boy's gonna meet girl. You're not going to have sex before marriage unless you really, really, really think you can get away with it, in which case you most definitely will. You're going to get married before you have kids. After getting married, you are going to hurry up and have kids if you're physically able to do it. If you're 5 years into being married and you don't have any kids yet, people are starting to talk. Probably 3 years into being married and you don't have one in the oven, people are starting to talk. And you are going to live happily ever after with the white picket fence and the 1950s. No, I'm talking before then. But there was an understood social expectation, a sequence for life. And all of that was going to happen when he was in his 20s to 30s at the latest, and she was in her late teens to mid 20s. Right. That was when that was going to happen. And by the time you're 30, you're a dad or you're a mum. Right. And by the time you're 50, you're probably a grandmother, right, for the women. By the time you're 60, you're a grandfather for the men. And that was unspoken. It didn't need to be said because everyone was kind of on board the same page. Now, I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying that's how it was. Now, everything's up for negotiation. But the problem is we don't always have the negotiation. And so we don't always know what the other person actually has as an expectation. Now, in the case of this particular story, I've actually got some sympathy for her because, and we're only hearing her side of the story, but I did actually read the article. I spent the brain cells required and lost the IQ points that come with that. Essentially, the way she kind of puts it, he's older than she is. They got together when she was 24 and she had the expectation that they were going to have kids, that they had conversations where he was going to be the primary breadwinner and she was going to be the primary child carer. So she made career choices on that basis in the expectation that it's not going to be very long and I'm having kids and I'm taking a step back from the workforce. And so
they actually did have the conversation.
They did have the conversations. Yes.
Okay.
Was it enough? I don't know. But what it looks to me like and what it sounds, and again, we're only hearing her side of the story, and they're not telling us, their names, I think, for obvious legal reasons. But basically, she's jumped online and said, this is my story. This is my situation. He has been in a relationship with her for 10 years. When she's finally started to say, hey, listen, I haven't got forever. I can't have kids when I'm 70 like you can. Let's get on with things. He's dumped her and walked away from the relationship instead. Now, in that situation, I have some sympathy for her perspective. Because she was sold a certain set of expectations. She was given a set of expectations that she then planned around and made plans for. And time is relentless. It's a cruel master. It passes and never comes back. I'm going to defend her a little bit. I've got a little bit of sympathy for her situation.
Yeah. Now that you've told me a little bit more context, I actually know someone who went through a similar thing with their partner for over 10 years. The next step was, we're going to start. They were engaged. They were about to plan their wedding. And the next day was like, let's do the baby thing. And then he sat her down and said, hey, like, I think I want to put off kids for another 10 years. And understandably, she was like, what the fuck? Like, we're done.
Yeah.
I get that. But I will say, look, I don't disagree with you, right? I do sympathize in that sense. If they had actually had the conversation and they were on the same page and then all of a sudden he's had a change of heart, that's pretty shit. And she has every right to be annoyed by it. And that's obviously why the relationship ended. But there is also a level of agency that people seem to have abdicated. And I see this everywhere. People seem to have forgotten that we have autonomy. We have free will up until now. I mean, in 5 years' time, who knows what's going to be like in Australia. But, you're able to make decisions. And I've said this before. I've given examples of this when it comes to dating, of women who meet a guy that they're somewhat attracted to. And it could be for his looks or his status or his money or whatever, right? But for whatever reason, they're attracted, even though they know on paper, compared to the values and what they want from their man, he doesn't fit all that criteria. But what they do is they go, I can change him. I can fix him. I'm going to make him work. And this is why, whenever I hear that people are breaking up or, my ex was crazy or my ex was this, whatever, it's always the same thing. Like, my ex was crazy. I don't think that for the most part, most of these people who dismiss their exes as being crazy is that the other person was crazy. It's just that they were ill-matched. Like, they were never meant to be together, but something brought them together and they stayed together longer than they should have. And I'll give you an example. So when it comes to like Tinder, Bumble, all those apps, I've given my story before. G and I met on Bumble. We are one of those success stories. But that wasn't after I had been on that app for on and off for almost 10 years. I was ruthless. And I used to get picked on by my friends. I know. That's the first thing I said to him. Like, what bloody took you so long? Yeah. Dude.
She was
what were you
doing?
If G-Met had met me 10 years ago, he wouldn't have been ready. He had to wait for the perfect time.
Because you were insufferable.
Nothing's changed. I'm only getting worse.
There was just, there was a voice. I didn't say that. I totally didn't say that.
To be fair, he deserves a gold medal because he puts up with my 400 personalities. So, I mean, he's a patient man.
All at once.
But I've seen this with my friends, right? And this is not just anecdotal. I've witnessed this. I knew what I wanted in someone. And I've told this story many times. I've gone on dates, perfectly nice people, nothing wrong with them. But I was like, sorry, you're just not for me. And that person has been offended, like, whoa, we only had one date. Give me a chance. And I'm like, it's not you, man. It's just, I know what I'm looking for. Terribly sorry, but it's not you. Whereas in contrast, I've seen my girlfriends who I love and adore, but, I watch them keep making the same mistakes. Oh, I like him. I'm just going to see how it goes. And that's honestly what they say. I'm just going to see how it goes. Yeah. And they get down, gee, when's this medal going to be delivered? Later. Anyway, Topher's just like, I'm squirming.
I don't think I want to know what that's in reference to.
Anyway, stop derailing my very serious conversation. I've seen this in my girlfriends where they'll go on a date and they'll say, I'll see how it goes. And then literally down, 6-month route, they have this terrible breakup. And it's like a breakup that you'd think they'd been together 20 years because what it is unmatched expectations. You went into it, and I remember this, and like I've consoled so many girlfriends on this exact same topic. And I think this is pretty epidemic of what feminism has taught women as well. Like go and have everything, you can have it all, and then you can mold your man to be what you want, because if the man doesn't mold to you, if he doesn't bend to you, then he's not a good catch. And it sets you up for failure, because a man, to a degree, when he's in love, will move heaven and earth. But it does come to a point where a man's going to go, well, hang on a minute, this isn't like this. If there's nothing coming back
the other way, then why?
Yeah. And so, yes, a man will move heaven and earth for you if he feels like it's been reciprocated. If it's not, he's going to go, well, this sucks, I'm going to go elsewhere. So, and I've seen this with girlfriends where they've done the whole 6-month thing. And then when I say blow up, I mean, it's like bloom, crazy.
End of the world.
It stems down to the fact that they had nothing in common. They weren't going in the same direction. Most of my friends want kids. why isn't that the first thing you talk about with this prospective partner? Everyone's like, oh, Carly, you're taking it too seriously. Like, you got to chill out in the early days. I'm like, no, you don't. When you're in your fucking 18, 19, 20s, yeah, sure, muck around. But as you're coming into like your late 20s and your 30s, why are you wasting each other's time? Why would you be seeing how it goes? Have that conversation up front. Hey, I actually really want kids and it's a priority for me and I see myself having them in the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Carly, I didn't know that about you. Have you updated G? Because that's quite a departure from where you were at.
No, I want another dog. And Lynette's like, G loves you enough to pull your dough. Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
But yeah, this is the recurring theme with women. And I see this now, like women are in their 40s, freezing their eggs, doing all these sort of therapies to make them more fertile in their 40s to have babies. And it costs them a fortune. Like freezing your eggs is about $10,000, if not more, plus the toll it takes on your body. When I see this girl and she's asking for compensation, I understand it in a way, but also shame on the girl, because after year 2 and 3, why weren't you guys having that conversation? Why did you wait 10 years? What are you doing? Well, you've survived another episode and you're still here watching. So at this point, you should probably go and subscribe. And if you don't, you are going to be at the wrath of Spicy Carls. And whilst you're there, empty your pockets. There's a buy us a coffee button and would really appreciate it so that I can show up every day and just make Topher's life an absolute living hell. Much appreciated.